In the golden age of Hollywood, there were some couples that people talked about all the time. They were so perfect together that people always wanted to see the actor with the same actress and the actress with the same actor. Here are 20 couples that we all talked about in the golden age of Hollywood. Moloy and William Powell. William Powell and Moloy became household names because they made people smile. They starred together in the Thin Man films, playing a married couple who solved mysteries with style and wit. Audiences fell in love with their natural chemistry. When they were on screen, you forgot you were watching actors. It felt like you were hanging out with clever friends who always had a good joke ready. They were the perfect couple because they seemed so comfortable together. They traded witty lines and never lost their cool. Even when chasing criminals, they looked calm and playful. Their banter was sharp but never mean. You could see trust and affection in their eyes. This kind of easy charm didn't feel forced. It felt like real love and friendship. They became so popular because people wanted to spend time with them. The world was tough in those days, and Nick and Nora offered an escape. Their home was classy, their parties were fun, and their little dog, Asta, made everyone laugh. They solved crimes in a light, funny way, showing that even serious problems could be met with a smile and a martini. Fans kept coming back for more, not just for the mystery, but for the couple's sparkling relationship. Even now, many years later, Powell and Loy as Nick and Nora remain a shining example of true screen magic. Spencer Tracy and Katherine Hepburn. Spencer Tracy and Katherine Hepburn always felt like something special, both on and off the screen. Watching them together made it clear that these two were more than just movie stars reading lines. They had this natural spark that never seemed forced. It was there in every sideways glance, every teasing remark, and every moment of quiet understanding. Audiences couldn't help but believe they were seeing something real, something honest. Over the years, they made a bunch of films that showed off that perfect chemistry. Comedies, dramas, you name it, they made it look easy. No matter what story they told, they had a way of making the audience feel like a guest in their living room. When the camera stopped rolling, everyone knew they shared a deep bond. It wasn't just acting, it was something grounded in real care and respect. Their final film together, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, became a kind of bittersweet farewell. Tracy gave one of his finest performances, and Hepburn was right there with him, every step of the way. Shortly after the film wrapped, he passed away, leaving behind a legacy wrapped up in their shared work. Even now, the warmth and honesty of their relationship still radiates from the screen. Their partnership stands as one of Hollywood's greatest love stories, both in front of the camera and behind it. Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward were truly the perfect couple on and off screen, marrying in 1958 and remained married for 50 years plus until Paul passed. They married in 1958 and stayed devoted to each other for more than half a century, a true lifetime of UPS, downs, and everyday moments. This wasn't some short-lived fling. It was genuine love, built over decades, rooted in respect and understanding. They were the kind of couple that made people believe in the idea of soulmates. On screen, they were magic. Their performances fit together so easily it was hard to remember they were just acting. It always felt like a glimpse into their private world, a world filled with laughter, gentle teasing, and a comfortable warmth that radiated through the screen. Off-screen, they kept it low-key. No need for flashy drama or constant attention. They were happy with simple things. Sharing meals, raising kids, supporting each other through career highs and lows. That kind of stability stood out, especially in a town known for breaking people apart. They were glamorous, no doubt about it. The cameras loved them, and fans couldn't get enough. But what really set them apart was how genuine they seemed. Even now, long after Paul has passed, their story still feels like a shining example of what love can be. Enduring, supportive, and timeless. Their legacy still inspires, reminding everyone that true love can indeed last forever. Rex Harrison and Jean Tyy. Rex Harrison and Jean Tyy just clicked right from the start. Watching them together in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir Felt like sitting in on an honest conversation between two old friends who never run out of things to say. This was their only film together, but the magic they created left a mark that still feels fresh today. It's funny how sometimes a single project can capture something so special, leaving people wondering what might have happened if they'd worked together more often. Harrison brought a certain dry wit and confidence to his role, effortlessly becoming that charming ghost who managed to be both distant and strangely warm. Tierney carried her part with grace, giving the audience a character who was curious, kind-hearted, and always ready to stand on her own 2 feet. Side by side, they felt like equal partners, never overshadowing each other. Each moment on screen had this quiet beauty. No fireworks, no tricks, just real chemistry. That's what made their pairing so memorable. It didn't feel forced or practiced. Instead, it seemed like two talented people meeting on common ground and letting something unique unfold. Even though their paths only crossed that one time, fans still talk about it, celebrating that rare ease and harmony they found. Sometimes a single film is all it takes to create a timeless, unforgettable connection. Gregory Peck and Virginia Mayo. Gregory Peck and Virginia Mayo looked so perfect together from the very start. Watching them take on Captain Horatio Hornblower felt like stepping into a grand adventure where romance and heroism danced hand in hand. Peck brought that quiet strength he was known for, the kind of presence that made it easy to root for him. Mayo matched him step for step, never fading into the background, holding her own with a kind of elegant confidence that made every shared scene sparkle. The chemistry they shared didn't scream and shout. It flowed naturally, like a gentle current beneath the action. There was no need for flashy lines or over-the-top moments, just small glances, subtle smiles, and that feeling that something deeper was connecting these characters. For an audience hungry for real, believable feelings, this was exactly what worked. The romance didn't distract from the larger story. It added heart and warmth, making the action more meaningful. People still remember how these two played off each other, creating a relationship that felt both classic and fresh. Even if the world they portrayed belonged to a long-ago era of sailing ships and old-fashioned honor, the energy they brought was timeless. Peck's calm authority and Mayo's bright spirit somehow made their love feel honest and real. It's the kind of on-screen partnership that still leaves viewers smiling, grateful for that special spark they shared. John Wayne and Maureen OHara. John Wayne and Maureen OHara felt like two forces of nature who belonged side by side. Theirs was the kind of pairing that didn't need fancy words or big explanations. In The Quiet Man, they showed how true chemistry can fill the screen, making viewers lean forward and smile without even thinking about it. This wasn't their first time together, and it showed. They moved through scenes like old friends who knew each other's rhythms by heart. Wayne brought that solid, steady strength people expected, the kind that rooted a story in something sure and unshakable. OHara matched him by showing a fierce spirit that could match any man's courage any day of the week. Put them together, and sparks flew, not because they were trying too hard, but because they knew exactly who they were and what they were about. The final shots of The Quiet Man say so much without speaking. There's a quiet comfort and understanding in those moments, a sense that these two characters really see each other and accept all the rough edges and honest flaws. Watching them, it's easy to forget that you're looking at actors playing roles. It feels more like catching a glimpse of two people who find something real and honest in the middle of a storybook setting. That's what made them unforgettable. Just two human hearts beating in time. Johnny Weissmuller and Maureen Sullivan. Johnny Weissmuller and Maureen O'Sullivan fit the Tarzan and Jane roles so perfectly that it's almost impossible to imagine anyone else swinging through the jungle. Across 6 Tarzan films, from Tarzan the Ape Man in 1932 all the way through Tarzan's New York Adventure in 1942, they became the faces of a wild, untamed romance that moviegoers simply couldn't resist. Each new film brought audiences back for more, eager to see their daring rescues, playful banter, and the gentle, natural affection that seemed to bloom right there in the African rainforest setting. They were popular for good reasons. Not only did they make it look effortless, but they also broke new ground. People still talk about how daring those early costumes were, shocking some with their natural look and freedom. Fans ate it up, though, because it felt real. Rumor has it that Weissmuller liked to pull harmless pranks on set, charming everyone around him, including Sullivan, who handled it all with a relaxed, playful grace. The way they interacted off-camera often spilled into their scenes, giving the films a warmth that went beyond scripted lines. Over time, as the series continued, viewers got to know their relationship as something steady and familiar. Together, they created a timeless image of adventure, love, and trust that still makes people smile after so many decades. Grace Kelly and Cary Grant. Grace Kelly and Cary Grant stepping into the frame together always felt like something truly special. There they were in To Catch a Thief, looking like they had just stepped off the cover of a glossy magazine, each perfectly capturing the essence of style and timeless elegance. She brought a kind of gentle, quiet charm that didn't need flashy moves to draw every pair of eyes her way. He stood beside her like a perfectly tailored suit came to life, confident, refined, and impossibly handsome. Their chemistry didn't need big speeches or dramatic gestures. A tilt of the head, a light laugh, a knowing smile, these subtle moments said it all. The audience could sense they were watching two people who understood each other's rhythm. The way they dressed, the way they walked, even the way they leaned against the nearest piece of furniture looked effortlessly perfect. Their pairing felt so right, so natural, that it's hard to imagine that this would be her final film before stepping into her role as a real-life princess. At only 26, Grace Kelly bowed out of Hollywood with a performance that left everyone wanting more. It was one last look at a sparkling partnership that gave viewers exactly what they craved. The ultimate in male and female beauty, grace, and class, all wrapped up in a single, memorable moment on the silver screen. Henry Fonda and Barbara Stanwyck. Henry Fonda and Barbara Stanwyck were one of the perfect couples. In The Lady Eve, they showed how a rom-com could dance right to the edge and still keep you hooked. She played a sly card shark who teamed up with her dad to fleece unsuspecting suckers on fancy cruise ships. Along comes Henry's character, a rich and slightly odd bookworm who's been wandering the Amazon, collecting snakes. He's the perfect mark, smart enough to study reptiles but clueless when it comes to women. But here's the twist. They actually fall in love. She tries to save him from being ripped off by her own father, and for a moment, it's honest and sweet. Then he learns who she really is, and everything blows up. Cut to the U.S. He's back home, heir to a brewing empire, trying to shake off the heartbreak. She's plotting revenge, reinventing herself as the Lady Eve. Same face, same woman, but now pretending to be someone else entirely. He can't believe it's not her. They marry, and she dishes out a wild story of past lovers so shocking he bails on their wedding night. Divorce looms. He's ready to return to the jungle with snakes that never pretend to be something else. But there she is again. No more faking, confessing her real feelings. As they slip into his cabin, he worries he's married. She smiles, but darling, so am I. Now that's what you call a perfect on-screen couple. Doris Day and Rock Hudson. Doris Day and Rock Hudson just clicked. Put them together, and suddenly romance didn't feel like a big, heavy thing. It felt fun, light-hearted, and charming. Whether trading playful banter over a shared phone line or tossing witty comebacks across a fancy apartment set, they turned ordinary scenes into something special. Every glance, every laugh, and every clever line felt so easy and natural that it almost seemed like they weren't acting at all. They knew how to balance sweetness with a hint of spice. Audiences could see that they genuinely enjoyed working together and that goodwill spilled over into their characters. Their movies like Pillow Talk and Lover Come Back didn't just rake in big box office numbers, they also burrowed into people's memories, becoming those comfort films you can watch again and again. Even decades later, they still feel fresh. It helped that both were already beloved stars on their own. Doris Day had that sunny, girl-next-door appeal, and Rock Hudson brought a classic, effortless charm. Together, they forged a perfect harmony that made people laugh, sigh, and dream a little. It wasn't just about the romantic stories. It was about how good they made everyone feel. They reminded viewers that love could be funny, hopeful, and reassuring. That feeling never went out of style, which is why their partnership still shines, generation after generation. Charlie Chaplan and Paulette Goddard. Charlie Chaplan and Paulette Goddard stepped out in 1936, looking like a picture of old Hollywood charm. He was already a legend, the man behind that iconic mustache and bowler hat. She was young, vivacious, and smart, making her way up in the business. Together, they looked like a glamorous couple straight off a magazine cover, both wearing timeless styles that still feel chic today. Back then, actors and actresses carried themselves with a certain class that people still talk about. They didn't just dress up for the camera. Class was in their walk, their speech, and the subtle way they handled the spotlight. Chaplan, for his part, had a reputation for charming the ladies, and when he paired with Paulette, there was a kind of friendly sparkle that made their films shine. In modern times, the two created something special, blending humor, warmth, and a playful chemistry that felt effortless. They didn't need to shock anyone or wear something outrageous to grab attention. Their talent and presence did all the work. Even when stepping onto a set or attending a premiere, they knew how to present themselves in a way that radiated elegance. Looking back, it's easy to miss those days when class seemed to come naturally. Chaplan and Goddard remind us that sometimes the simplest, most honest style is what lasts the longest. Clark Gable and Carole Lombard. Clark Gable and Carole Lombard became household names because they seemed like a perfect Hollywood dream. They were both already famous. Clark was known as the King of Hollywood, and Carole was a brilliant comedic actress. When they fell in love, people loved the story. It felt real, not just some publicity stunt. They married in 1939, and the world cheered. Fans saw them laughing together, pulling silly pranks and looking relaxed and happy. They were rich and glamorous, but still seemed down to earth. They didn't act like snobs. They were open about their life and love. Magazines showed them at home having fun and being normal. People connected with that. They were perfect together because they balanced each other. Clark's calm strength and Carole's bright spirit fit so well. They teased each other in public and never tried to hide their affection. In a time when many stars looked distant, they seemed friendly and warm. That made people adore them even more. Their popularity soared because their love felt honest. They weren't pretending. They were also at the peak of their careers. Everywhere you looked, on movie screens, in newspapers, at Hollywood events, you saw them, smiling and shining. Their story ended sadly when Carole died in a plane crash, yet their legend still lives. Today, people remember them as a golden couple who brought real love to the silver screen. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall became household names because their love story began right on the movie screen. When they first appeared together, sparks flew. Audiences saw their intense chemistry. He was older, known for tough roles and a gravelly voice. She was young, with a sultry look and a calm confidence. Their on-screen banter felt natural. It was like watching two people fall in love for real, because they were. They were perfect together because they understood each other. Bogart saw that Bacall was more than just a pretty face. She was smart, witty, and held her own. Bacall saw beyond Bogart's tough guy image. She found a kind heart and a gentle soul beneath that gruff exterior. The media loved their story. Pictures of them laughing, holding hands, or enjoying quiet dinners appeared everywhere. Fans ate it up. They loved that Bogart and Bacall seemed like equals, partners in every sense. They became popular because their relationship felt honest. Many Hollywood couples looked too polished, too fake. Bogey and Bacall looked like real people in love, who also happened to star in classic films. Their movies were hits, so everyone recognized their faces. They stayed loyal to each other through ups and downs, which made people root for them even more. Even today, they remain a symbol of timeless, classy Hollywood romance. Laurence Olivier and Vivien Leigh. Laurence Olivier and Vivien Leigh became household names because they looked and acted like true Hollywood royalty. They were both incredibly talented. Olivier was a respected stage actor who brought serious skill to films. Leigh was a stunning beauty, with remarkable acting chops. When they got together, it was like two shining stars meeting. People felt their union elevated acting itself. They represented something high-class, elegant, and artistic. They were perfect together because they respected each other's talent. They read poetry, rehearsed lines, and took acting seriously. They shared a deep passion for their craft. This made fans feel they were watching not just famous actors, but true artists in love. They attended big events looking graceful and poised. Photos of them stepping out of grand cars, wearing stylish clothes, made headlines. People admired their style. They saw them as a sophisticated couple who proved Hollywood could be cultured. Their popularity soared because they offered a different kind of celebrity romance. Not just gossip and glamour, but real depth. They moved between theater and film, showing versatility that impressed the public. Fans followed their plays and films, always eager to see what this power couple would do next. Though life brought them struggles, their names endured. Even now, people remember them as legends who lived, loved, and performed with genuine class. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz became household names, mostly through television. But they started out in Hollywood. Lucy was a rising comic actress with a gift for making people laugh. Daisy was a Cuban musician with charm and a bright smile. When they married, people saw something fresh and exciting. Their backgrounds were different, but together they created magic. They brought fun and warmth into people's living rooms. They were perfect together because they understood how to make ordinary life hilarious. Their show, I Love Lucy, showed a couple dealing with small daily problems in a funny way. Everyone related to that. Fans saw Lucy's silly schemes and Desi's patient, loving reactions. They acted like real people. They made you feel like you knew them personally. Each week, people tuned in to see what trouble Lucy would cause and how Desi would react. They became popular because their comedy was honest and heartwarming. They seemed truly in love. Off-camera, they built a TV empire, Desilu, producing innovative shows. That impressed fans who saw them not just as actors, but as smart business people. They represented a happy, modern couple who proved that laughter could hold you together. Even after their marriage ended, people kept loving them. Today, Lucy and Desi remain icons, reminding us that love, laughter, and partnership can conquer everything. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks became household names during the silent film era before talking movies existed. Mary was America's sweetheart, a beloved actress who felt like everyone's kind friend. Douglas was the daring hero jumping from rooftops and swashbuckling his way into hearts. When these two superstars got married, it was like a fairy tale. People were thrilled. They were perfect together because they were genuine. They built a home called Pickfair, where they hosted glamorous parties. This home became a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. Yet they never seemed snobby. They were friendly, laughed easily, and welcomed others. Fans loved that. They felt like Mary and Doug were sharing their success with the world. Their romance looked so happy. Their careers were soaring, and their love seemed to shine just as brightly. They became popular because they showed that movie stars could have real love and happiness. They also made big moves in the industry. Together with Charlie Chaplan and D.W. Griffith, they formed United Artists. This was a bold step, proving actors could control their own destiny. People admired their courage. They were pioneers who helped shape Hollywood itself. Even after their marriage ended, their legend stayed alive. They are still remembered as two shining faces of early Hollywood, a couple who brought dreams and magic to millions. Jeanette MacDonald and Jean Raymond. Jeanette MacDonald and Jean Raymond may not be as famous today, but during their time they were a gentle, well-liked couple. Jeanette was known for her sweet singing voice and her roles in elegant musicals. She brought grace and charm to the screen, making fans feel like they were hearing an angel sing. Jean Raymond was a handsome actor, singer, and composer, also full of talent. When they married, people saw two kind, cultured performers coming together. They were perfect because they shared similar interests. They both loved music and film, and they kept their image clean and respectful. They didn't chase big scandals or cause trouble. Instead, they hosted pleasant gatherings, wore tasteful clothes, and stayed classy. Fans liked that they seemed approachable and polite. Magazines showed them smiling at home or traveling quietly, looking like a normal, happy couple who just happened to be famous. They became popular because they gave audiences a calm, refined vision of celebrity life. At a time when Hollywood could be flashy and dramatic, Jeanette and Jean offered something softer. Their fans appreciated their gentle approach to fame. They represented old-fashioned romance and artistic dedication. People trusted them. They weren't just big stars. They felt like kind neighbors who loved music and cared about each other. This sweet simplicity kept their names warm in people's hearts for many years. Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles. Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles became household names because they each shined so brightly on their own. Rita was a gorgeous dancing star who lit up the screen with her beauty and grace. Orson was a brilliant director, actor, and storyteller who gave the world Citizen Kane. When these two got married, it felt like beauty meeting brains. Fans expected fireworks, both personally and creatively. They were perfect together in people's imaginations, because each brought something different. Rita represented glamour, allure, and star quality. Orson was the genius who could shape stories and characters. Together, they promised a thrilling combination. People wondered what kind of films they might produce as a pair. This curiosity kept fans glued to their news and interviews. They became popular because they were unpredictable and exciting. Their marriage was intense, and the media loved it. Magazines showed them smiling or working, making everyone guess what would happen next. They were not a quiet couple. They had big personalities and big ambitions. Fans were fascinated by the idea of two enormous talents joining forces. Though their marriage didn't last long, their time together still glows in Hollywood memory. People remember them as a couple who dared to mix brilliance and beauty. Even now, they remain a legendary pairing, full of drama, promise, and star power. Judy Garland and Vincente Minnelli. Judy Garland and Vincente Minnelli became household names because they combined music, emotion, and visual style in their work. Judy was a beloved singer and actress, known for her warm voice and soulful performances. She made people feel deep emotions just by singing a single note. Vincente was a gifted director who painted beautiful pictures on screen. When they got married, fans saw a union of heart and art. They were perfect together because Judy's heartfelt singing blended smoothly with Vincente's eye for stunning images. He directed some of her best work, including Meet Me in St. Louis, where her songs and his vision created pure magic. Audiences loved that. They felt these two were made for each other, bringing out the best in one another. They became popular because they represented a sweet spot of old Hollywood's musicals. Their names showed up in magazines and newsreels, making people curious about their life at home. They had a daughter, Liza, who would also become famous. Seeing this family of talented people made fans smile. They were admired for their artistry and their gentle way of touching people's hearts. Even through personal struggles, their work together shined. Their films still make people happy today. Judy and Vincente remain symbols of a time when movies, music, and true emotion blended together, leaving fans grateful for their remarkable partnership. George Brent worked with multiple but with no success. George Brent was a favorite acting partner for some of the biggest stars in the studio era, including 11 movies with Bette Davis alone. One of the reasons for his success was his blankness as an actor. Stars like Loretta Young and Barbara Stanwyck knew that no one would look at Brent if they were in the frame. Brent was married 5 times, to Helen Louise Campbell from 1925 to 1927, Ruth Chatterton from 1932 to 1934, Constance Worth in 1937, Anne Sheridan from 1938 to 1939, 1942 to 1943, and Janet Michaels from 1947 to 1974. Chatterton, Worth, and Sheridan were actresses. Chatterton and Sheridan were Warner Brothers players. His final marriage to Janet Michaels, a former model and dress designer, lasted 27 years until her death in 1974. They had 2 children, a daughter, Suzanne, and a son, Barry. Brent also had affairs with actresses Greta Garbo and Davis. His most notable relationship was with Anne Sheridan from January 5, 1942 to January 5, 1943. The Warner Brothers stars began exclusively dating in July 1940 while filming Honeymoon for Three. The gossip columns soon began predicting marriage. According to the book, George Brent, Ireland's Gift to Hollywood and Its Leading Ladies, by Scott O'Brien. I read that we will be husband and wife before 1941. O'Brien quoted Sheridan in his book. We keep saying that it's getting mighty close now. The two were very different. Brent was much more proper and Sheridan was casual, rough around the edges and rubbed elbows with the hairdressers and men on set, according to O'Brien's book. Brent even told reporters in 1941 why he and Sheridan wouldn't get married. But on December 7, 1941, Brent and Sheridan were having lunch with screenwriter Bess Meredith when the news of the Pearl Harbor attacks came through. Meredith's son, John Lucas, recalls that O'Brien remarked, "What incentive is there in planning for the future when they don't know what will happen in the next week or year?" The two were married shortly after the New Year in Palm Beach, Florida. However, their separation was announced in September 1942. This is an amicable separation. It is caused by divergent interests of our separate careers. According to a September 28 Associated Press news brief, Anne Sheridan and George Brent to go separate ways. Sheridan told media that they had differing likes and dislikes, and also partially blamed Brent's shyness, as she liked to go out and mingle with people. "We simply had too many odds against us," she said, quoted in O'Brien's book. A marriage cannot last if one tries to dominate the other's life.